So hi everyone. My name is Charlie Moody Stewart. I'm PRO at Innumeris Education, and today we're fortunate enough to be joined by Ireland basketball player Adam Drummond. Adam, how are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
No, huge to have you along. Really appreciate you giving up the Friday night. It's massive. So how have you been keeping? What are you up to at the moment?
I'm good. I'm doing an internship now myself. I'm going into my final year of college. I'm just doing an internship in EY, Ernest and Young. So I'm doing strategy and tax at the moment. So yeah, I'm enjoying that. I'm definitely going to enjoy my last year of college with get learning all this kind of the work life at the moment, the 9 to 5. So I'm going to
Uh,
make the most of my final year of college next year. But no, it's going well. It's going well. They're
that
treating me very well in there.
third year, I think third year is definitely the most brutal of
Yeah,
once you get rid of the penultimate year, final year, you fly. Then it becomes
exactly.
more Guinness, or in your case, probably Murphy's orientated.
Yeah, yeah. Geez, you know your stuff there, don't you?
Yeah, unfortunately, I found that one out the hard way.
Ah, sure.
Um,
We all do.
yeah. So the main aim here would just be finding out a bit more about your experience moving to the States
Yeah.
from Ireland a
Hmm.
couple of years ago to play basketball there.
Yeah.
First at prep school and then at college, if
Yeah.
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so when you first moved into the States, you went to prep school. Was it Taft in
Yep.
Connecticut?
Yeah. Half school. Yeah.
Taft.
Yeah.
Do you want to outline roughly what a prep school is for those who aren't
Yeah.
100% sure?
So the way American high school works is, I believe, compared to Ireland, I think you start in third year, so you have third, fourth, fifth, and sixth year. That's high school in America. So the way it worked for me was I was gonna go before my final year, sixth year, but I ended up going as a postgraduate instead, which is essentially going over to America and repeating your leaving cert or doing your final year again. So I did that, and Taft is a private boarding school, so everything was on campus. It was so I went for 1 year, and yeah, boarding school is a really great place. I think one thing people kind of get a misconception of is that like you're going there for school, and basketball comes second. So that was a bit of a culture shock for me when I got over there. I was like, I'm going on a basketball scholarship here now, but they were like, if you're not getting your grades right, you're not going to play. So and it kind of differs wherever you go. You can go to academies and stuff over there, and basketball definitely comes first there. But when it comes to prep school, 100% you have to be ready to take on the education workload as well.
Interesting. So the step up academic, you felt there was a significant step up
Yeah,
academically.
yeah, like because you're going over there and like I was on financial aid. So the way it works is that like your prep school's work is not like you're not getting a basketball scholarship. Essentially, you're getting a scholarship based on your financial aid. So like how much? So I think to be a full payer for like tuition for 1 year was like 60,000. So there was like kids there paying 60,000. So obviously they looked at myself and they look at your family's income. So I think I probably paid 1,000 of that 60,000 or something like that.
Okay.
Um, so that's the way it works. There's no actual quote unquote basketball scholarships. That's the way the scholarships work. But obviously you're recruited to go play basketball there. I'm probably if I was a regular student, I'm not probably being accepted to the school. So yeah, you kind of get there and like so you have kids there who are paying 60,000. So on my left, in some of my classes, one kid was going to Yale. On my right, there's someone going to Harvard. So yeah, you have to definitely keep up. There's definitely the education change is different compared to leaving certain things like that. They definitely offer kind of more of a broader range of education there compared to your maths, English, and things like that. You can definitely do a lot more things. But yeah, 100%. That was probably the biggest shock I kind of got going over there.
And was you mentioned there that there was a range of people that
Mhm.
so you yourself were focused on potentially more on the basketball side, but you had people going to Yale and Harvard.
Mhm.
How easy was it to adapt socially to a school coming from Ireland over there?
Definitely different. Like, I think the culture, like, their slang and like the stuff they found funny, I definitely didn't find funny when I first went over there. But like, you have to adapt. Like, and I think going over there, I went over there not knowing anyone. I didn't. I hopped on the plane, and whoever was there to collect me, I didn't know. So I think that would kind of that definitely benefited me. It's definitely something not to be afraid of. I think I'll always say going over and not knowing anyone is something you can use in your advantage. Um, but yeah, definitely that range of like, the extremely wealthy people there. But like when you're under one roof, like the only difference really is like probably the clothes you're wearing. Like they're the only things that you could separate. Like, oh, he must have money or he mustn't. Like, I was friends with people over there, and I would have never know that like their dad was like the CEO of this company or that company. It's just like you're under the one roof, you're living in the same dorm, um, and you just get to adapt. Like, but I went over there, and there was people from all over the world. Different corners of Africa, Asia, everywhere.
Wow.
Like fellas on soccer scholarships, on everything, and playing golf and things like that. So, um, you like as much you have to adapt to America, they still want you to be your own person as well. And I think that's definitely important, trying to be, Irish, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. No, they seem fairly partial towards the Irish over there. Uh,
Yeah.
so not
It,
too.
it works. It works in your favor sometimes. Then sometimes it gets a bit annoying when every time Jerry thinks that they're Irish. Like, to be honest,
Yeah.
but like I guess it definitely worked in my favor more than it was annoying when I was over there.
But what about in terms of like the level? Was it a significant level up sport wise as well?
Yeah, yeah, definitely prep school. Like you would say, prep school is like it's hit or miss really because you're definitely playing basketball more. So it's like I played basketball here 6, 7 days a week before I went to America, but that was like I think I only had 3 or 4 training sessions a week. But then over there, you go over and you're training 6 days a week. It's train like your practice like so. That was definitely something I was ready for, and I knew it. I expected. But the level definitely, yeah, I guess it's kind of like playing in like a pro league here. Like you have 3 or 4 recruits. They like each prep school will bring in 3 or 4 or 5 recruits. So like the level compared to like when I was underage here, yeah, 100%. But I would probably say like it would probably balance out to kind of like like the National League level here. Not really the Super League, obviously. Super League would be better. That's more men. And like senior level, but definitely there's a step up in the prep school level.
Okay. And what about in terms of you mentioned there you paid 1,000 of the 60,000
Yeah.
tuition. How easy was it securing that funding? And
Uh,
is that feasible for other candidates from Ireland interested? Is that an easy process?
yeah, it's definitely something not to be afraid of. Like I'll always say, like if you're going to go to prep school, I'll always tell parents and their kids like expect to pay something. Like unless you're going to play Division 1 college basketball, more than likely you're going to be paying something. So definitely with the prep school level, um, it's worth it because it can springboard you onto college scholarships and things like that. But like they'll work with you. Like they ask for like probably like family income and things like that. But like it's all secure. It's all I wouldn't be worried about it, anything like that. But definitely don't be afraid of it. They're gonna work with you, and like it's going to be they're going to ask for you to pay something that they think is reasonable. Um, and I think I had to go back and forth a couple of times. Like what they thought was reasonable for my family to pay is like different in America compared to what the income is here. So we definitely went forward and back, and kind of asked for more money here and there, things like that. So we got to a number then that we thought was fair.
No, it's just an underlying message there. Don't be afraid to
Yeah,
enter discussion with them. They're
yeah,
on the whole pretty amenable.
100%. Yeah.
It's good to hear.
Hmm.
And how would you then recommend after your experience at Tufts? Would you recommend that to other Irish as a result? How important was it for you personally and sort of as a player?
Yeah, 100%. I think, it's the experience, like basketball aside, like basketball's huge, but like it's the experience. Like I still have friends that I talk to, 5 years on from Taft now, 5, 6 years that like I talk to every day, and connections there. And as I said, like nowadays it's all about connections. Like it's all about like, LinkedIn and
Yeah.
having things like that. Like I think Taft's alumni would be bigger than anyone. So it's like having that kind of connection for beyond basketball when you're looking for a job, or if I ever want to go back to the US, is huge. And then like it's kind of like the basketball side 100%, because the thing with prep school, when I did 1 year, so it's like you're not tying yourself into something for 4 or 5 years. So it's like you could go to Taft for 1 year and you would go, look, this isn't for me. And like it's like no bother, you can come home. So yeah, I think it's always worth it in the sense that like it's financially, it's not going to be a burden. Like, it's 3,000 to go to college here. If you're going to be paying 3,000 to go to prep school, I would say it's worth it, because what the opportunities in terms of playing college basketball it can do for you is amazing. Like, so I think it's 100% worth it if it's possible.
Yeah. It's just in terms of if people were deliberating whether to go straight into college, because you said you went, I mean, I've read, sorry, that you went to Dickinson after, and for those deliberating perhaps whether or not to go straight to Dickinson rather than and sort of overlook the prep school level, you would say prep school is definitely worth it.
Yeah, I think it definitely, like, best way to put it is that like prep school definitely baby you a bit more. You're not going into college, so it's like, you're getting your 3 meals a day, like you have outlets and things like that. So, and then also it's the physical side of it, where like you have a year to physically prepare yourself and your body to go into college basketball and things like that. So it has benefits, both lifestyle and it has, basketball or athletic benefits.
Okay. And then now moving on to your time at Dickinson, you got a scholarship there as well, I believe.
Yeah.
Was that purely based? You mentioned that at Taft you had to prove your academic sort of aptitude up to a point. Was the scholarship taking that into account, or was it purely based on basketball?
No, it was definitely both. 100% both. Again, Division One is outright scholarship, so like you're not paying a penny. But with the way Dickinson was, is that like it's financial aid again. So, but it's also a lot of academics is involved. So it'd be just kind of like, in Ireland or wherever in the UK, is that like you need to get a certain amount of points in your leaving cert or your GCSEs or whatever to get into college. So it's the same kind of way that like I needed to have a certain grade point average. Basically, so it's like where like if you don't, like if I got in and I wasn't able to do the college work, like I'm not going to be able to play. And that's an alley college, so that's why they kind of, well, different colleges kind of differ, but like I'd say Dickinson was probably one of the more rigorous academic schools. But yeah, exactly, and then going to prep school, another benefit was I was already through that process. So then when I went to the college one, I knew exactly how it was going to work, how long it was going to take. So it definitely prepared me and my family for the college application as well.
And academically, would you say that it was easier to fit in? You mentioned that Dickinson was very rigorous. Was it easier to make that step up than it was at Taft?
Yeah.
Was the difference from Ireland to Taft more or less difficult than the difference from Taft to Dickinson?
Yeah. Like if I went straight from uh like high school in Ireland or secondary school in Ireland to college in America, like I would know, like I probably would have been home, I'd say after a month. Like I would have been like, what is going on here? Because it's hard enough to go from secondary school in Ireland to college in Ireland. Like to make that transition would have been very tough. So going to Taft kind of, made me realize what I wanted to do in college. It made me realize, it gave me that like 12 months to, mature a bit as well. And then by the time I did get to college, it was like, all right, this is what I want to do. I know how to work. Like, I never once used we never once used computers or laptops in secondary school in Ireland. And you go to the US and that's all they use. This is like before COVID now as well. So it's like I was getting used to that, and I was like, geez, like imagine if I came straight from Ireland to here.
No, yeah, it sounds like prep school is then fairly essential.
Yeah.
And did it also help socially as well? Because obviously coming into a different country is one thing, but then college is like another level on top of that. So how easy was it to adapt socially to college life at Dickinson?
Yeah, definitely. As I said, like in prep school, it's like they definitely baby a bit more. So it's like there was definitely a transition. Like you're definitely out on your own more. You kind of have to, well, you have your cafeteria and things like that, but there's definitely like you have more freedom in prep school. You have your strict regime. Like you're here, the building, you're under one roof, and then you go to college, and it's like way bigger. Like you have to go to this building, you have to go to that building. So that transition was different. And then socially, I definitely prepared me a lot more. Um, there's definitely different social cues in Ireland compared to the US. So I definitely like maturing, using that prep year to mature and to, it's simple things as simple as like washing your own clothes and like things like that, washing your bed sheets and just taking care of yourself really. And then you go to college, it's another step up, you even less help. So yeah, definitely I like, as we said, we keep going back to the prep school thing, but like it prepares you for kind of like every aspect that you could possibly think of.
Do you want to roughly outline
So
like
yeah,
different
the
levels?
way so Division One is like obviously your Division One, and that's like they'd have 12 players in the team, and you'd say 10 to 11 would be on scholarship, so full scholarship no matter what the tuition is. And Division Two kind of varies then, where you know it's they might have 6 or 7 full scholarships, and then like 3 or 4 that have half scholarships. And then Division Three then is exactly like prep school, where there's no full scholarships, but it comes down to financial aid, your academics, and you can get different scholarships. Where like I was basically full scholarship. I was probably paying around the same kind of area as what I was in prep school. So we kind of looked at it where it was like, would I be paying this roughly the same amount back home if I was going to college? So it was definitely worth it in that sense. But yeah, that's basically the breakup, I guess. Division One is probably the best basketball, the best athletes. Division Two is the best athletes, but probably not the best basketball. And then D3 is probably like better basketball, but like not the best athlete. That's probably the best way to put it.
No, yeah.
Really, really, really good basketball being played, but doesn't have the same athletes as Division Two would.
Okay. Then that will make sense. And was that a big? So
Yeah.
Division Three, there was still a step up, significant step up from
Mm-hmm.
Ireland.
Yeah, it was definitely 100%. Like I always kind of put it into sense where it's like college basketball is a full-time job. Like it's 7 days a week. You're expected to keep up your grades. You're expected to, be at every practice, every training session while doing extra stuff, while getting into the physio room outside hours in between classes and things like that. So yeah, it's a full-time job. It's 7 days a week. Even though the season is only October till April, you're going like obviously you're home for like a month or two or whatever. You're going for 9 months while you're in college.
I see.
Yeah.
And since whilst at Dickinson, am I right in saying you had an unfortunate injury,
Mm-hmm.
the unfortunate accident which led to you being left in a wheelchair,
Yeah.
which I think how's that how's that
How have I kind of adapted to that?
yeah.
Yeah, definitely. It's obviously she's definitely tough, but like I always say, like I'm very very lucky to have great people around me. There's definitely been people who have had these accidents and they just don't have the same support. So, you know, even though I went to America, like I always like always love where I come from. I come from Cork, come from the north side of Cork. So like I think when my accident happened, like it makes you realize like, people do love you. You realize who your real friends are. So like although like this terrible thing has happened to me physically, so many great things has happened to me since. And I think it's opened so many other doors. I'm close to finishing out college now. So when I came back from America after COVID and things like that, I had to restart college. And like, I think because of my accident, I was able to become, I wasn't great academically. I was, I had, I had like effort, I put in effort and things like that. But like it's made me really concentrate now on academics and like, it's opened up so many other doors for me, academically and things like that. So which probably if I was still playing basketball and I was still able bodied, I wouldn't be in this position. So although the negative things have happened, I was just trying to focus on the positive things.
Well, it must been, to put it mildly, quite tough. But one of the things that I've
Mm-hmm.
seen happen since then is you started coaching. Is that right? And
Yeah,
then the Neptune under 20 side. How
yeah.
how helpful has it been seeing how young players develop from a coaching, obviously first as a player, now as a coach from the coaching side of things, and given what you've sort of learned from that, has that impacted how you would approach to your move to the States? You know, a few years ago, has that changed your perspective at all?
Yeah, 100%. Because like, you know, I'm on the other side of it now, so I can look at them and say like, all right, this is what worked for me, and like this is what didn't work. So you know, I'm trying to keep them on the stuff, keep them on the road that will like keep them away from doing the bad things or whatever. This is in terms of basketball development, but yeah, 100%. Like I one or two lads now say like, oh, I want to go to America. So it's nice for me because when I wanted to go to America, I had no one. I didn't have this, like I didn't have these interviews telling me, you know, what prep school is like. Absolutely nothing. So me being able to like do this and be coaching and like help when they come to me, like what should I do here? Who should I contact? It's you know, it feels good for me because I know and how realize how hard it is, um, how hard it was for me to like do financial aid, like how to figure out financial aid, how to send my transcripts, how to do send all those things to America and what they expected. So it's nice for them to have an outlet to me, and also like it's, you know, it's giving me a lot as well because I know I'm helping them out.
And from that role, seeing that other side of things, has that made you more aware of how challenging basketball it is to go to the States on a basketball scholarship versus other sports?
Yeah,
So have you gauged that, you know, how
yeah,
difficult basketball is?
100%. Like it's the most played sport in like in America. Like, and I think I saw a stat, and like, this is just like American high school. I think it's less than like 0.01% of high school players go on to play college basketball in America. So like imagine the percentage of like international players or Irish players go on. So it's like if you have that opportunity, like, you know, it's cliche, like you genuinely, like you have only one career, you've only one shot at this, like why wouldn't you do it? You know? And like if it's financially okay, like if it's financially doable, um, and like you're able to go do it 100%. That's what I always say. Like, why not? Even if it's just for the prep school 1 year and you don't like it, great. If you go over there and you get, you know, loads of players have done it, like CJ Fulton, and other players, like they get a couple of Division 1 offers, and it opens up so many doors for them. So you know, there's nothing to be ashamed of if it doesn't work out. But then it's like, you know, the benefits definitely are better than the negatives.
It certainly seems like, oh, you know, worst case scenario, it's almost like an exchange. You know, even if it doesn't come right, it's
Yeah,
almost like an
yeah.
exchange when people go to the States for a year. You know, it's a no,
Mm-hmm.
in a way, it's almost like a no brainer.
Yeah, and I think it's like, you know, I'll always say like there's absolutely nothing wrong as well with going like, you know, I want to come back to Ireland, I want to play in the Super League, or I want to go back to my club. Because like even when I went away, like when I went to prep school, like to be honest with you, like coming home really wasn't an option for me. Because like nowadays there's like universities give basketball scholarships, they give academic, like they give free accommodation and things like that. So it's like those opportunities are still here, and then like there's even more opportunities now in America. So you know, I think it's just ever growing. And then like basketball is very tough to get scholarship, but like you see a lot more even soccer scholarships now at the moment. Um, and I know Immersive have, you know, helped with that. There's been a lot of soccer scholarships. So I guess it's just kind of like keep on building that bridge between Ireland and the UK and the US, to be honest. And I think that bridge is definitely getting stronger.
No, yeah, quite. And I think that's what Innumeris, among other
Yeah,
organizations, are trying to do is bridge that
yeah,
financial gap, because as you mentioned earlier, it is significant. I mean,
hmm
60,000
yeah.
is huge. So aside from sort of, this is final question, Adam, any other advice which you would give to any young Irish student looking to go abroad to the States as a result of your experience there?
I'd say take care of your academics. I think, you know, if you're not, you know, great academically, the chances get even lower. I think you can be as great as you want at basketball, but if you're at the bottom of the class like messing or whatever, I think you need to probably get your expectations lower. So I think, like, you know, as soon as I said, high school starts over there in third year. Um, I think a numerous kind of work with fifth and sixth years, but like even if there's, you know, someone in first or second year, 14, 15-year-old watching this, you're not too young to become good academically. It doesn't have, it's not just your leaving cert. Like, so that's what I'd say. Like, get the academics down, then the basketball, because I think a lot of basketball coaches, they look at your tape and then they will literally ask you one question. They'll say, what way are you in school? Like, what's your GPA? And if you say a number that's too low, you'll never hear from them again. So I think definitely is academically, reach out, get it right.
Switch on. So that's like, and that's at school now in Ireland, and obviously when you get to the States as well. It's just do not neglect the academics.
100%. I think you won't even get there if you're not switched on. So I think it's switching on as early as you can. Because I wasn't the best academically, but I got my chances got lower. So like it's like I got really, really lucky. Like it's like if I was great academically, I probably would have went Division 1. But it's like, I didn't, when I was in third or fourth year, I didn't know that, like, your grades were taken for 4 years rather than just your leaving cert. I thought it was just my leaving cert. So definitely, young people 15, 16 years old, start taking it seriously.
Okay, huge. All right, great. Thanks, Adam. That's massively helpful. Really appreciate you taking the time. I'm sure anyone watching will really appreciate what you had to say in terms of how that relates to their own journey. So yeah, thanks a lot. And good luck with the rest of the internship and with the final year as well.
I know. I'd say I'll need a bit of luck now, I'd say.
Yeah, well, the Irish, surely, if anyone's going to get it, it's going to be the Irish. They're going to get, a bit
that's just cliche, though. We're very unlucky.
No.
Thanks very much, Charles.
Yeah, no, thanks a lot. Really appreciate it, Adam.
Thank you. And if anyone needs, they can reach out. I think my contact details will be on the website and things like that and social media. So, look, if anyone has any questions, of course they can reach out to me.
Okay, great. Thanks, Adam. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Charles.
Cheers.